Ignite your faith. Live with purpose. Welcome to Kingdom Spa.
Okay, let's dive into something that feels heavy, but I think ultimately it's meant to be hopeful.
Right.
You know that feeling like you're at a point where you just can't turn back.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you've messed up too much, made too many mistakes, got all these regrets, bad memories, and the path behind you just feels, I don't know, ruined.
Yeah, like a wasteland, as you said.
Yeah.
The source we're looking at really paints that picture, doesn't it? That internal feeling.
Totally. Feeling alone, lost in the dark, shame, being scared of what people think, judgment.
It mentions being haunted, doubt, remorse, fear, hearing those whispers.
Exactly. You are lost. You're finished. Or the big one maybe, you are irretrievable.
That feeling of having crossed some line, a point of irreversibility.
Yes. And it's that feeling, that really sharp question. Are you actually irretrievable? Have you gone too far? That's where a source tackles, right up front.
It is. So for this deep dive, we're getting into excerpts from a text. It's called You Are Retrievable by Wendell B. Etienne.
And our plan, our mission here, is really to unpack what this text says, to pull out its answer to feeling lost.
And specifically the reasons why it argues there's hope, why someone might be retrievable from its perspective.
Okay, so the text, it doesn't really wait around, does it? It doesn't just describe the despair.
No, it jumps right in with the counter message, the core idea.
Yeah, it just states it boldly. You are retrievable.
It's such a direct contrast to that feeling of being finished or, beyond fixing.
Right, and it doesn't just leave it there. It gives the why. It lays out actual reasons, according to the source, why someone feeling completely irredeemable is, well, retrievable.
It starts with a big concept.
Yeah.
You are a divine project.
A divine project. Okay, what does that imply here?
Well, it frames your existence, like your very being, as something intentional, created, not just random, something with inherent purpose designed by a creator.
So you're not just the sum of your mistakes or some cosmic accident.
Exactly, that seems to be the idea. Which, that's pretty powerful if you're feeling like a complete failure.
Definitely. So where does it go after that? From being a divine project?
It shifts focus a bit from identity to the future. It says your future isn't like locked in by your past, not written in the stars, as the text puts it.
Okay, so not predetermined by mistakes.
Right. Instead, it claims your future is held or decided in the merciful and loving palm of your Creator, and this was decided before the foundation of the world.
Wow, okay, so that really flips the idea that your past automatically dictates what's next. It puts the control and the mercy somewhere else entirely.
That's the argument, yeah.
So we have inherent purpose, a future rooted in mercy. But what about the actual stuff? The mistakes, the sins that make you feel lost in the first place?
It tackles that too, directly.
Right.
It connects being retrievable to sacrifice.
How so?
It states quite clearly you are retrievable because someone died in your place as you wandered in your sins.
Ah, okay, so the idea of a substitution, covering the very things that cause that feeling of being irredeemable.
Precisely, and it emphasizes that this isn't just like a historical footnote.
How do you mean?
Well, it follows up by saying you're retrievable because the blood flowing in Golgotha is still available and effective for you.
Still available and effective. That's interesting phrasing for something that happened so long ago. What's the implication there?
The source presents it as an ongoing reality, an accessible power almost. Like the mechanism for retrieval is always active, always working, no matter when you live or what you did. A constant resource.
A constantly flowing resource for grace.
For this recuperative grace, as the text calls it later.
Yeah, okay. And building on that, there's another reason given. It emphasizes value.
Yes. You're retrievable because you are valuable in the eyes of God. You have value.
That sounds like a direct response to the shame and self-hatred mentioned at the start.
It does, doesn't it? Like your value isn't based on your performance or your feelings. It's inherent from this viewpoint. It can't be destroyed by mistake.
Right. And the final reason it gives, it's very stark, very practical.
It is. Because you are not yet 6 feet under.
Wow. Blunt.
Absolutely blunt. But it really underscores the source's core belief. As long as you're alive, the possibility for this retrieval exists.
So the point of no return isn't about how bad you feel or even what you've done. It's death.
According to this text, yes, that's the boundary it sets.
Now, the source doesn't just keep these as abstract points. It uses examples, specific people.
Right. It says, if you doubt this is possible, just ask Zacchaeus.
And it describes him how?
As the dishonest former tax collector. Think about that reputation. Corruption, wrongdoing. Yet he's exhibit A for retrieval.
Okay. And then there's Paul before Saul.
Yeah, described as the former zealous persecutor of the Church of Christ and saboteur of his works. I mean, this is someone actively fighting against the very thing he later championed.
So his story really challenges the idea that someone is just too far gone, right? If he could change.
It highlights radical transformation, not just stopping bad things, but a complete 180 in life direction, all framed as part of this retrieval process.
It also brings up the woman who wiped Jesus' feet with her hair.
Noting she did it out of regret for harmful and deceitful acts.
So again, actions that might seem shameful or unforgivable met with acceptance. Retrieval, in the source's terms.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop with obvious sinners. It includes failures within the inner circle, too.
Like Peter.
Yes, pointing out how Peter cowardly denied his master 3 times when the moment of truth arrived.
A huge failure, especially for someone expected to lead.
A profound failure, yes, under pressure. Yet he's also held up as retrieved. It suggests even major specific failures don't close the door.
Then the source really broadens the lens. It talks about billions of people.
It does. Ask it of billions of sinners who, for more than 2,000 years, have found and still find rest for their weary souls at the foot of the cross. It paints this picture of a huge, ongoing wave of people.
And describes them as being retrieved by what? It uses some strong language there.
By God's mad, extravagant, and infinite love.
Mad, extravagant, and infinite. What's that trying to convey?
I think it's trying to capture the sheer scale and maybe the unexpected nature of this love as the source sees it. A love that doesn't follow human logic, isn't limited, and is powerful enough to encompass billions, including those who feel totally lost.
So it takes all these reasons, divine project, mercy, sacrifice, value, being alive, and all these examples.
And wraps it up by circling back to the main point. You haven't gone so far. No matter what, you can still be caught up in God's indescribable mercy.
Right. And it finishes with a kind of urgency, doesn't it? A call to action.
It does. It urges the reader, the listener, to grab God's recuperative grace before it is too late.
Referencing that idea about death and then judgment.
Exactly. Framing the opportunity within that specific theological timeline.
Okay, let's pause on one specific idea the source highlights as a key takeaway. It says, "You are retrievable because the blood flowing to Golgotha is still available and effective for you." Let's hone in on that.
Yeah, as we touched on, this seems to be the absolute core mechanism in the source's view. It's specific, it connects to a historical event, but crucially, it's presented as now.
Right. Currently operational.
Yeah.
Currently effective. Available today.
It grounds the whole idea of mercy and retrieval in something tangible within its own framework, something with ongoing power.
Okay. And the source, it really wants you, the listener, to connect with this person.
Yeah.
It asks a very direct question right after laying all this out.
It does. It asks, do you think you have gone so far that you feel it is now impossible to be caught up in the love of God? If yes, why?
It's really pushing for self-reflection there, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's asking you to take stock of your own feelings of being irretrievable, examine your reasons, and then hold them up against what the source has just argued, against its examples.
It's an invitation to, examine yourself in light of this message.
And the source also includes something it calls a deep prayer, which kind of encapsulates everything.
What are the main themes in that prayer?
Well, it hits on gratitude for that inherent value we talked about, acknowledging the sacrifice, the idea that God's love can override mistakes. There's a powerful line about being caught up by your love when I ran away from you.
Running away but being caught up anyway.
Yeah. And it also includes this desire to share the core message that the sacrifice, the blood, is still effective, still available, especially with others who feel hopeless.
So this deep dive into You Are Retrievable by Wendell Etienne, it really does present a strong counter-argument to feeling completely lost.
It acknowledges the darkness, the shame, regret, fear, but it anchors the response firmly in these concepts. Divine purpose, a powerful, available sacrifice, inherent value, and act of grace.
It fundamentally challenges the idea that any individual can reach a personal point of no return.
By positing this divine ability, this mechanism for retrieval that just operates on a different level than human mistakes or feelings of despair.
So it really leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Contrasting that initial feeling, being lost, hearing those whispers.
With the source's claims, like, what does it mean for you personally if you accept the idea of being a divine project, even when you feel broken?
Yeah. And that description of mad, extravagant, and infinite love, the kind that says retrieved billions, how might that apply to your own situation?
What are the implications for your path forward if, as the source insists, your value persists no matter what, and that kind of powerful love is right now available? Something to really mull over.
Thank you for your precious time. Please subscribe to our channel for more content like this.